C. Carter of the Relentless Voice. I've been asked for years to do a podcast. Here we are. This is episode 1, and I need to tell you, and I will always tell you, I am not here to influence you. I am not here to entertain you, but I am here to empower you. So let's get right to it. My life right now is focused on making sure that blacks in America can end generations of hopelessness and get to the next level. And so for that, I have to go back in time, and I will always look at why, the why. I believe that when you ask questions, you get people to think. And we need to be thinkers so we can evaluate information, so we can determine if it's valid for our life. And so today I'm going to talk about constructive genocide. We hear the word genocide thrown around, but when you construct something, you build it, you craft it, you make sure that things fit so you can get the outcomes you want. So America has, in my opinion, based on my body of work, has created this constructive genocide of blacks. And in order to go a little deeper, there are 3 big downfalls that I believe, based on my research in my life, that has brought me to this point. One was slavery. Yes, slavery has played a profound impact on the mindset of blacks even today. Even though many people in this current lifetime, they weren't involved in slavery, but their ancestors took that slave mindset, and it just carried from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. So you're physically free, but you function as if you're in bondage. That's a problem. And then the other one is you came from a physical form of slavery, and then you went into a political slavery. And that political slavery is very deadly, because a lot of times you make decisions based on skin color, based on gender, based on letters that are before and after a person's name, and you don't base it on qualifications. You don't even base it on performance, and you will vote for the same people over and over and over, but your life is not getting better. Your family's life is not getting better, and the community that you live in is not growing under the leadership. So we got to get deeper into that. And then finally, drugs. Drugs has played a huge part in where black America is today. Whether it's crack cocaine, which I believe it ranks right up here with slavery. It decimated families, it filled up prisons, and it's hard to get back from some of the things that you build in the process of living. So your foundation is not a solid foundation. We're going to talk more about that as we continue to go through this process of making black families better and ending this generation of hopelessness. So slavery, we always hear about it. We hear people talk about it, but many of us never experienced it. I never experienced it. I'm not afraid or concerned about physically being put in bondage, because that won't happen. There will be an all-out war, and America won't exist anymore before that happens. But I am concerned about the slave mindset. It's hard to get people to understand their value, where they fit in this space called America. And so I always talk about being influenced or being entertained. What I found was, somewhere in history, they made it important for black people to be entertained. So as black people, you'll give it all up for entertainment. You'll spend your last to get your hair done, to make sure you have the right outfit, to go to a concert. And then a week later, you're trying to borrow money to pay rent. Slave mentality. It's not good. So there are some things that we have to accept, and I call them hard truths. And once we start to deal with those hard truths, you're going to be able to see progress. And for me, as a man, as a father, my job is simple at this stage of my life. Do all I can for the generations to come. That means I will focus on young black males, and of course the young ladies are welcome, but I have to build from male to man. So when I no longer can set up at a desk, or I no longer can get on a bus and run around, I need to know in my mind and my heart that I have trained up that generation to be not me, but to be greater. So their works will take the next generation and the next generation to a place of progress. That's where we're headed. And I'm always going to give you truth. And I know truth sometimes is hard. For all the people that show up at church every Sunday, you consistently talk about the truth sets you free, but you will not embody the truth. You will frown on the truth and you'll accept the lie. And those are the reasons why you see people drink Kool-Aid that's partisan, because it's easy to be indoctrinated when you don't focus on truth. So, genocide. What are some of the factors that I believe has been a part of the construction? Mass incarceration. Some people were incarcerated for opportunity, out of necessity. Some were incarcerated falsely. Some were incarcerated to meet quotas. But either way, the incarceration, it broke togetherness. It took away potential fathers that would have been active in their child's lives. It caused a mindset from slavery to a prison mindset. And now you're institutionalized, and now you come back into a society that's not prepared for you. And if you had any realities that were real, that were really real, that you shouldn't have been in prison, you now come back entitled. You're angry. And sometimes life went on without you. And then if you committed the crime and you were given more time than what you thought, you can have the same mindset. If you went and you shouldn't have went, you still lost the opportunity to grow in the time period you were. So life went on because technology kept going and going and going. And now you are in this space that you're trying to catch up to. And so it's so many reasons. And a lot of the things that I'm talking about, and the reason why we talk about black males endured as a whole the greatest tragedies of slavery. Yes, they raped, they beat our women, but they took men, they castrated them. They abused their family in front of them, and they put them in fields and made them work, and they took their manhood. That's why we struggle sometimes. And so we have to be able to deal with, that's what happened. Here's where we are today, but here's how we get away from that. Because we cannot go another 25, 30 years and still be talking about slavery 400 years ago. It just doesn't work that way. And now we have to make sure when we start talking about the man, who is the man? Is that man really a white man? Is it really a man at all? Or is it you? I carry these mirrors everywhere I go. So when life is beating me up, I tend to look in the mirror to make sure that my issues are not me. I hand these out because I want people to get to a point to understand today I can make decisions based on my life. And I need to figure out how to get through the next day without having to self-medicate. I need you to become solutionist. And when you learn how to solve problems, life don't beat you down as much. So, mass incarceration. I think we're at a point where, yes, some people will end up in the cracks, but for the most part, I believe that the scales are balancing. So that's not our issue or our plight right now. But I do believe that we have some things that I want to talk about in these hard truths that are stopping black people as a whole from getting to the next level of life. And everybody's not going to be wealthy. Everybody's not going to be rich. Everybody's not going to be a millionaire. But we all should have the ability to get to the next level, whatever our next level is. So remember, I can't be wrong because what I'm giving you is based on my experiences, the things that I have seen in this country. And so to add a little value to what I'm saying, let me give you a little background about me. I have spent the last 10 years of my life traveling this country to understand the why. From rural, urban, suburban, studying people, behavior, and where I see progress, how do they get there? Where there's no progress, how do they stay stagnant? So if I'm in Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, why we still have the same issues? When we have all this progress, the buildings are going up, we see people living over here this way, people over here living this way. So we have to find out what the correlation is. So I received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama for having mentored over 500,000 kids. And that was in 2016, 17. But I'm always the first one to say, I still haven't done enough. Because we still have some of the same issues, and they're only getting worse. So I accomplished that, still not enough. So then I got on the road in RVs and hotels, spending 300 nights each year to experience people, the very people I'm talking to you about, being in their space, accepting them where they are, whether they're getting on a bus with me, whether we're eating lunch or dinner, or we're having conversations. And I meet people that are broken. And later we're going to talk about, in these hard truths, the reason why it's teen black males, because I tend to put you here as a black male until you graduate into manhood. Because males is something you are from day one. You grow into manhood if you should ever make it. And so the genocide piece, we can overcome. We as a collective. And in this team, did I say team black males, it's not just males. It's just not black people. It's people that understand humanity, that understands if I take the least of them, and I believe black males are the least of them in America, and they grow, then everything starts to grow. We start sometimes talking about the weakest link. If you tighten up the weakest link, then your whole chain, if that's what it is, becomes stronger. And right now, based on my work, black males are the weakest link right now. We're putting too much pressure on our sisters, on our mothers, on our grandmothers. So that takes me to what I believe the current downfalls. I gave you what I thought my 3 downfalls were initially, which was slavery, political slavery, and most important is the drugs. And it's hard to say because I'm sitting in a state right now where certain drugs are legal. And so people believe that they have this freedom because they got the right to use the drug, but the drug depresses you. It slows you down. And then it takes your money when you have limited money. But because people have freedoms, I won't get lost there because people are gonna do what they wanna do if that's really who they are. So that was in my era what I believe has caused some of the carnage that you see. The killing of each other for money or for drugs, the self-hate that I believe came from slavery. Now let's figure out today, what are we forced to deal with right now in the moment? The number one issue that I see, see if we're ready for the hard truths. I'm gonna give you a lot of them. Black males abandoning their children. Yeah. You had fun. You had sex. From the sex became a responsibility that you avoided. So what you do, you put pressure. You put pressure on the mother who wasn't built for that pressure. So now that mother ventures into relationships and places she shouldn't be because you abandon your responsibility. Is it too late? No, it's never too late. How do you know? Because I did it for 12 years with one of my daughters. And the greatest comfort was when I woke up one day and I'm like, what are you doing? And now me and her are like this. She reminds me so much of me. High level athlete, stand up for what she believes in. So I understand. And what happens is, as a father, when you're not fulfilling that, you got this lonely place, man, and you don't even understand why you're missing some of the things you're missing, why you're dysfunctional. Because you allowed your seed, your DNA to run around here, and it could be pouring into you like you could be pouring into it. So my goal with Team BMW is to be a facilitator to rebuild families. You screwed up, you messed up. I don't care if you're on drugs, I don't care who you are. Man, you'd be surprised of the amount of children that would love to have you around, even in your imperfections. So that's one of the things that we have to do. We must take our responsibility serious and go from a father to a dad. We just got to deal with it. I don't care how long it's been. Too many people, man, are living a life feeling like they weren't worthy. And I don't care if you're male or female. You want your father in your life. You want to be able to figure out the why. More important, you want to get past the why. And that pain is real. So number one, current downfall of black males. The abandoned child, that father that left. 2, political slavery. Sisters are being pimped left and right and given power. And in that power, they act like many black males don't even exist. I hear the rhetoric. Even the black male that's elected in a predominantly black community. All they talk about is black this, black this, black this, black this, black this, black power. And they're full of bull crap. I call it politics. But that's what happens across the country. The larger the city, the more bull crap. When you go into Chicago, black mayor, black representatives, that crap don't mean nothing, guys. You go to Dallas, black city manager, black mayor, black sheriff, black council people. You know who the poorest, most crime-ridden communities? Black communities. That's why I said, in politics, because you should play a part. You should be involved. You're just civically engaged is the word that we're going to use. But you should do it from an educational standpoint. You should not do it because of what someone looks like, or breaking glass ceilings, or making history. None of that stuff is sustainable for you. So we got to become more engaged. And then this one here, y'all not going to like me for. But I told you, I'm going to give you hard truths. That way you can decide if you want to come back to this or not, or you want to be done with me. Pacifying women. Yeah, sisters. A lot of the drama in your life, you bring on yourself. Mothers, you are not a dad. You are not a father. And you never will be. But just be that great mother, that great woman. And that will get us through some of the foolishness that we're getting from the men that are walking away from their responsibilities. Sisters, you're letting males, because I don't even call them men, come into your house, your space where your children are. They have no regard for you. They have no regard for your children. They eat the food. They want to be treated like a king, and they're not even worthy of being a peasant. I know. Some people say it's better to have a little man than no man. You talk about needing something to hold on to. Get you a teddy bear and some batteries. Because your life will be better. And then with your sons, if you keep him here too long, you're going to ruin him. You got to start making investments into your sons so they could be the man that you hope they can be or the one you wish you had. But you have to do it in earnest and understand they're your son and they're not your man. Now remember, these are hard truths. But I can promise you this, based on my education level, based on my experiences, that this is real. Was that a cue for me? My truths, you evaluated. The black church. The black church has failed the local communities. Led by men, males, people. They've manipulated you. They've taken resources. They've put them in big buildings, nice cars, high quality clothes, not considering the constructive genocide that's taking place, not considering how many other generations fall behind because they no longer want to visit a place that should be an educational center for life, for God, and for faith. But they destroy it for their self-gain. And they have no conscience. And it's happening every day now. Pastors get into politics to build their brand. They vote on things that are opposite of the Bible or the book that they learn from or the faith they stand on. Because it's no longer about their faith. It's about their self-progress. Church buildings are empty Monday through Saturday, when they could be the facilitators of some of the social ills that's in their community. But the only people that can fix these social ills are us as people. Hold people accountable. Stop loving and liking people to the point where you can't give them truth. It's important. You're worth it. Your children are worth it. Your community's worth it. Hopelessness. Hopelessness. It's one of the worst things we can ever have in our life. To be around people that are hopeless, it's no good. They are a threat to you, they're a danger to themselves, they're a danger to society. We must build up one another. We must build up ourselves. We must be able to look in that mirror once again. I think this is the greatest asset you can have is a mirror. You can see the flaws, but you can also see what I can do to be better. We must end hopelessness. That should be a mandate on our lives. And we do it with truth, but we do it with action. Don't tell me how bad I am and you don't have a solution for me. Some ideas, some concepts. Because it does nothing for me. If I'm hungry, split your sandwich with me. That goes a long way. Don't tell me you're going to pray for me. I can pray for myself. It's time for people as a collective to be responsible for something or somebody beyond themselves. It's a downfall right now. The poverty mindset. Yep. Birthday time. Baby's 2 years old. You spend $700-800 for a 2-year-old party. You got 30, 40, 50, 60, you got liquor, you got weed. You went all in. You can't pay your rent on the first now. But the baby who don't even understand what's going on was in the bed at 7 o'clock. The party went on to 2 o'clock. Poverty mindset. You're buying things that you don't need, that you can't afford. Poverty mindset. They're going to give you the ability to get this today and pay later. You get it quickly now. You use it one time, and then it's on the drawer, in the drawer, on the nightstand, in a bag. But you owe. Poverty mindset. And remember, I'm not here to influence you. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to empower you. And this stuff is only going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So if you don't like it, don't tune in. Share it with somebody to see if they like it. And then when you experience what I'm telling you about and you come back, I'll be right here. It won't change, but you'll change. Entitlement mindset. One of the most deadly things in the world is to believe somebody owe you something and they don't. Because what that does is, that means anything they do for you, you won't even appreciate. You won't appreciate it because it wasn't what you expected and what you believed they should do for you. People don't owe you anything. Nothing. I would believe that if you are given an opportunity, that is the greatest thing in the world for you. I have to change how I deal with people. You know, loaning people money or doing these things don't work. But if I give you an opportunity, I start to know who you are. I told you, you see Team BMW, but I have people of all races that have worked for me and still do. And it's funny, based on their race, how they function with me. Some races don't even play with me. They keep it 100% business. They keep the level of respect up, and they don't want no problems. The other races, always something with it. Because they believe, because of the tone of our skin, that life should be different from them. Unfortunately, I don't mind firing people. I will get rid of you. I won't abandon you as a person. But when it comes to the mission, what we have to do, I can separate those two. Now this one here, I may have to have issues or fights later on down the road, but broken men. Broken men. Broken men. I've had numerous men, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that I've taken on the road with me in this journey. And the level of brokenness is heartbreaking. Broken men. What are some of the common denominators? Male ego plus low self-esteem, to me, equals broken man. They can take no instructions. They always have to interject and don't know what they're talking about, because they have to feel like their value is up. But if they would do what they were being paid to do, or their role or their part, they would have the value, but they can't do that. Then sisters, you don't help once again. Because when a man is broken, he can't do nothing but break you. And now you are physically attached when you probably should have saw the brokenness before you got engaged physically. Because now you're clouded. Your decision making is clouded by the physical relationship. But all you're getting out of it is physicality. Because that broken man can't add to your life. What he's going to do is this, guaranteed, when you can no longer take it, or you're broken due to him, he's going to be gone. You're going to be bitter. And that bitterness is going to cause you to miss out on that man who might be that guy. But we can address that too. But in order for a man who's broken, who's lived his life, who has children, who has successes and failures, he has to be very special. Because it takes a lot. Because why? He has to look in his mirror. He has to see all those imperfections and those flaws. He gotta be willing to accept it. That's a hard deal. It's a hard pill to swallow. Hard pill. And one of the continuing on this downfall of black males today, lack of discipline. So undisciplined. You see people making $10 million a year. They blow it over sex. A momentary high. Lack of discipline. Can't get up and show up on time. Can't fulfill the simplest of agreements. Discipline. Discipline. Lack of discipline. Then when you deal with them, it's a problem. You got grown men still talking about fighting. Lack of discipline. What we don't want our children to grow up in a space where they are allowed to be undisciplined. You're allowed to allow them to take on the responsibility of having that lack of. It's important. Slave mindset. We've talked about that, man. You know, it's a scary thing. I am in a room, and I'm not really locked in the room, but I won't even get up and go open the door and let myself out. This here, the way you think will hold you down. You're captured in this space that you don't even have to be in. Remember, everything I'm telling you, they're my experiences. And it's wide, and wide. And I told you these are hard truths, so like I said, you may not tune back in again. Ineffective black-led organizations. There are many of them. Many of them. Ineffective. Big titles. Access to societal funds. Production level is low. Super low. They want to influence you. Many of them want to entertain you, but they dare not empower you. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I'm saying this not as a celebratory conversation, but no organization, especially in college, wanted to deal with me. I was one of them guys. Like, it ain't happening. And I can say in my entire life, I've only belonged to one organization. And that was the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in high school and in college. no other organization. But when I see and I encounter individuals in these black-led organizations, they're once again in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s, they reminiscing about what they did in their teenage and early 20s. Still, it's all about a party. Take their last, fly across the country to be in the room for the party. And after the weekend, go back to doing nothing. Or to figuring out how to pay for the party that they just left. And the last one, we're going to wrap this up, is that crab in the bucket mentality. Instead of pushing that brother over the top to get out so he can go get a rope and come back and get you, pull him back down in there so you're all stuck in the bucket. It happens every day. You may not physically be pulling them down, but you're talking about him. And a lot of it's lies. Because maybe he checked you in your imperfections or your lack of discipline. Maybe he called you out for bad behavior. So what you have to do to not allow your brokenness, you have to make sure you try to pull him down. Everywhere you go, you're talking about him. He ain't even thinking about you. He going on about his life. But your situation is because of him. Or her. She brought me down. She did this. Let me see. When she met you, she had a car. She had her own place. She had a job. She had some decent credit. She had a little money in the bank. And she had a high self-esteem. She finally stopped dealing with you because people kept saying, baby, what is wrong with you? You're not smiling no more. Why are you needing to borrow money? You still working, or why are you not working? You've always worked. And she looked around. Only thing changed in her life was you. Oh, now sisters can do that too. Brother, you had pride, good pride. You were confident, but you got over here. And she cussed you out so much and told you what nothing, you started believing it. Or she wants you to hang out with her versus going to work because she wasn't working. She brought you down instead of propelling you. We got issues. But the great thing about issues, there's always solutions. So here's what I'm going to do for you. All the stuff that I talked about, I want you to go to teambmw.org. And I want you to go over it. I want you to look at it. But more importantly, if you know of a 12 to 26-year-old, primarily black male, but we can take the young sisters too. I want to make sure that you get them to teambmw.org so they can join the team. Man, we got some great plans for them. People are talking about Project 25. Team BMW has a Who Really Cares Project 25 that's awesome, that's going to create the opportunities that we need, the people we need to move communities forward and to move America forward. I'll see you soon.